Γεια σας παιδιά, and welcome to my inaugural cooking show. This is in response to a challenge laid down by my friend Eric. Thanks for that, Eric. A lot of people have always asked me about when am I going to do a cooking blog or something like that, and I've always said no. But Eric's thrown down the gauntlet because of the lockdown, and so I thought, why not? Let's do it. So, as many of you will know, I'm a big fan of Greek cooking, and I'm a genuine Philhellene, so it's going to be a Greek recipe tonight. This is an absolute classic. You'll find it all over Greece, and every family has their own version of it. Tonight we're going to cook Kokkinisto me patatas στο forno me thimari. So it's like a tomato chicken stew with roast potatoes done with rosemary. It's an absolute classic dish. I hope you can enjoy it. It's pretty simple. This isn't going to be a live cook because there is cooking time to it, and I don't want to bore you for like an hour. So I'm going to edit this up and hopefully you're going to enjoy it. So we're going to start Keith Floyd style, God rest him, with a little glass to kick us off. However, not used in the recipe. So the first thing we're going to do is kick off with the potatoes. Dead easy. We're all on a bit limited supplies at the moment with what we can get. So I've actually just got hold of a baking potato from our friends at Morrison's. These do work fine, but they're not necessarily the best ones to do. And there's different ways you can roast potatoes. Everybody's got their own way, and I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick that I use to get a really nice crispy finish to it. So I'm only cooking for one tonight because given the lockdown there was no point in me trying to invite Rachel Koo over, as she wouldn't be able to make it. I know she'd come otherwise, but so one potato will be plenty. So just peel it, halve it straight down the middle, and then you want to create the kind of wedge slices you like. So that's now into quarters. I would go once more again. Obviously the thicker and bigger the pieces of potato, the longer they take to cook. So I'm going to go a little bit smaller than that and make these nice wedges. So we've got our potato wedges, nice and easy. And what we want to do is create a coating for them to give them a little bit of extra crispiness. So I'm going to cook these in olive oil. Obviously it's a Greek recipe. This is beautiful stuff all the way from Crete. So we're going to create lots and lots and lots of that in our bowl. And the way we're going to get a bit of extra crispiness on it is I'm going to use semolina flour. Okay, so that just goes in, create a little bit of a stir around. So you get this mixture. You can do this if you're making patatas limonatas, or you do it with lemon juice in there as well. It gives a lovely zesty kind of flavour to it, but we're just going to do it with the flour now. So in that goes, and we want to get a nice coat on it. What I don't want to do is get my hands all manky, so we're going to go for the old favourite lockdown COVID glove, and we're just going to give that a real good coating. As you can probably see in there, it's getting a nice coating there. I'm going to add a little bit more semolina flour on top of that. What you don't want to do is add too much because you get this kind of gunky coating which isn't particularly nice, but you just want that extra kind of crispiness to it. So I'm just going to dust it a little bit more. There we go, that's much better. And I've got my oven preheated to about 200 degrees. Normally I would do this in a fan oven, but because I'm using the microphone based on the phone to record this, I think it's going to be better just to do it in the normal oven. Hopefully it'll work, we'll find out shortly. So I'm just going to put that coating over the top, that lovely semolina and olive oil coating. I know you can't necessarily see all of this, but basically it's going into a nice little dish there. And that is going to go into the oven. Now these will probably take about 45 to 50 minutes. What you want to do is put them in halfway through that cooking time, is ramp up the oven by another 20 degrees, so 220, 230 kind of territory, and give them a stir through as well, so you get the coating and you flip them over and they get nice and crispy. So our potatoes are now in the oven. So now we can crack on with the rest of it. So Cotopolo Kokkinisto is a really basic dish to do, which is why it's easy, hopefully, for me to show you how to do it, but something you guys can do as well. The idea is you just want to create this rich stew. Now, you don't have to make it with chicken. You can make this with beef as well, or veal. All of these things are normal, traditional things to do. It's not the same as a stifado, which has different set of ingredients and is marinated and has wine in it and lots more spices. And everybody, as I say, has their own version of Kokkinisto. This is like a base version I'm using, and it's like the platform that you can use to build anything you want onto it. So the ingredients we're using today is 1 onion, we've got some salt, pepper and sugar, and we've got chopped tomatoes. Now, I'm using chopped tomatoes from a tin. This is one of the small tins, about 220 grams for one, but you can use fresh. If you're going to use fresh tomatoes, then you want to skin them first. You don't want the skin getting into this dish at all. It's not what you want. You want this lovely rich sauce without bits and pieces floating in it, and that includes the onion, and I'll explain why in a moment. So I'm just heating this pan now. I don't have gas, so it doesn't happen immediately. Obviously, with a bit more prep and planning, I would have got this heated beforehand, but that's going to work. But what we're going to do is we're going to cook with chicken thighs. So you can use any bits of the chicken. You can use just a jointed chicken would be the traditional way of making this. So we've got our chicken thighs here. I'm just going to do a brace of those. I'm cooking them with the bone in. Now, it's a bit of a funny thing in the UK that people don't seem to like cooking bone-in chicken or bone-in meat generally, but you're missing out on so much more flavour. It does take a bit more time to cook, and you just got to be aware of that. Whatever you're cooking, whatever type of meat you're cooking with bone-in, but actually the richness in flavour you get is so much better than just doing it without that on. Now, you'll notice that these are skinless. I've taken the skin off these because if you cook it with the skin on, because of the way that this is cooked, it just goes all sludgy and horrible. It's not what you want at all. It's not like you're baking it in the oven where you can get a kind of crispy skin on it, which would be delicious. It's not that kind of dish. So take the skin off the chicken that you're using is my advice, unless you like gloopy nonsense. Cheers. So what we're going to do first is we're going to brown this chicken. So you want a kind of a medium to high heat. Just see how that's going now. A bit more of this lovely Greek olive oil, all the way from the beautiful island of Crete. And we're going to get that going. And in go our chicken breasts to start browning. Let's get a shot of this. This is where we need a sous chef or a production team. So we're just going to get that going, and whilst that is starting to brown, I'm going to start the base of the Kokkinisto sauce, and we do this with everybody's favourite onion. Red onion, not a white one. Most of the onions you'll see used in Greek cooking is a red onion, but something to bear in mind is that the red onions that we have in this country are stronger in taste than the ones you tend to find in Greece. So when you're making the choriatiki, the Greek salad, putting the same amount of red onion you would into a normal choriatiki, unless you really like onion, just be a little bit more circumspect with it. Now, in a lot of Greek dishes, you'll find that they use onions, but they're not sliced or chopped or diced or however you want, although there are some, and they do this beautiful in-the-hand technique, which I'll never do. I'll absolutely murder myself. But for this, because we don't want bits of onion or bits of stuff floating around in this, we're going to grate it. So, nice and easy, plate, grater, onion, and away we go. So what this does is it takes out all the bits and pieces kind of side of it and gives you this lovely smooth flavour. You see this kind of onion paste in Indian cooking as well, but this grating of the onion is something that I've encountered a lot more in Greek cooking. So for this you probably want, most of the onion. We've got a little bit left in there. I'm just going to take that down. Whilst I'm doing that, I'm just going to check on our chicken to make sure we're browning that off nicely, and that's going nicely. So all good so far, which is really quite intimidating. However, we now have one grated onion. So get rid of the bits and pieces. But of course, when you grate an onion, it creates an awful lot of moisture, and that's not what we want for this dish. So we need to get rid of that somehow. So the way we do it, you can either squeeze it in a tea towel like you would making a tzatziki when you're squeezing out the cucumber, or you can just take a kitchen towel and just sort of blot it, doing it like this, just to withdraw most of the moisture. You don't have to get it all out. It's not important that you make it bone dry, but what you want is this kind of lovely grated onion, which will form a nice base. So what we've got is our lightly browned chicken thighs, and out they come. I'll put those to one side now. I hope you can hear me over the sizzling here. I don't have not quite sure what happened there. Joys of technology. Anyway, we're back on it. So once we've got our chicken thighs done, we've got our lovely oil going there on this sort of medium to high heat, and in we go with the onion. So we get a nice sizzle on that. What we want to do with this onion is to get it nice and soft. We don't want to caramelise it, so careful with the heat. We just want to get it nice and soft, get it all translucent to start making our Kokkinisto. There we go, just making that go nicely. Doesn't take very long to make this dish, it's really good. There is a bit of simmering time which will go behind it, but that's fine. I'll go off and drink some more wine, and then we'll edit this back and we can come and see how it ends out. But we're almost there. It's literally this simple. So we just want to get this lovely translucency and the flavour through into the onion. It's working good. And then once that's done, we want the chicken thighs back in. Actually, no, I'm going to do something slightly different here, because I haven't got a great set of pans for doing this one at the moment. I use a bigger one, but you can't really see with it. I'm going to switch to a second pan. So actually, what we want is our chicken thighs and our onion into our next pan, because this is the pan we're going to simmer it in. Okay, that can go over there. So we've got this in our pan now. Now we want to start the basis of the sauce. Dead easy. We get our lovely chopped tomatoes. In they go there. Very nice. And just give that a stir around so we're getting it all mixed up together. That's good. And we want to get that heat going now, because we want to bring this up so it's starting to bubble and pop. We don't want it boiling, and it's certainly not going to be at a rolling boil. It's going to be at a low simmer while we cook it. And into that, we want to add about half a teaspoon of sugar, because we want this kind of sweetness to go through it. And there's a nice counterbalance to this as well that I'll show you. So we have the sugar, and we also want a good pinch of salt. And we can adjust that seasoning once we try it later. And again, the same with freshly ground black pepper. Not easy to say after the amount of wine I've been drinking. So, we have the salt, we have the pepper, we have the sugar in there. Now, to counterbalance that and to give it more depth of flavour and a nice little contrast, another classic Greek ingredient, we have wine vinegar. So we're using red wine vinegar for this. And you want about a tablespoon, I would say, in there. And in it goes. And now we've got this lovely Kokkinisto bubbling away in there, which is great. I don't have a cameraman to come closer, not like Keith Floyd. So literally, we've got that going now. Now, what we want to do is turn that heat down, stick a lid on it, and then simmer it. And literally, you leave it. So about the time your potatoes are done, your Kokkinisto is done as well. So this is now going to be about 35 to 40 minutes. Of cracking on by itself. Don't need to interfere with it. Do check it occasionally just in case it's running out of moisture, even though you've got the lid on it. What you're looking for is a more reduced sauce. You don't want it really thick and clingy, but you also don't want it runny as well. So do keep a little eye on it, but you don't have to check it continually. So we've now got the Kokkinisto going, and we've got the potatoes going in the oven as well. For the moment, my job is now done. So with that in mind, I'm going to have a little glass of this. I'm going to retire for a little bit, and then we'll come back, and then once it's all done, I'll show you what it should look like, and then we'll plate it up. So thanks ever so much, and I'll see you shortly. Okay, we're back, and it's time to check to see how the Kokkinisto is getting on. So let's have a look. Oh, smells good. It's bubbling away nicely. So yeah, I think we've got a really good consistency on that. It's going to be difficult to show you guys, but you can see in there that you just want, you see it's not just completely runny, it's reduced a bit, and that's exactly what we want. So I'm very happy with that. Let's give it a little taste though, just see how we're doing seasoning wise. Yeah, not bad. However, I'm going to go with just a little bit more pepper. So here we go with that. And let's just get that through. Fantastic. Very happy with that. Nice. Let's check on our potatoes. Now, one thing I didn't do with the potatoes is to put the thimari in, the thyme. Fortunately, after I stopped recording the first part, I did remember and I went and put it in. So we've got this lovely fresh thyme, which just strip off the leaves, cover the potatoes in it. Not too much, you don't want it overpowering, but it just goes really nicely with it. So let's just see how we're going on there. Nice hot oven. And sure enough, nice potatoes. Now they're looking great. So these with the semolina flour on top will be nice and crisped as well. So let's just see if you can see those babies there. Fantastic. So very happy with that. So that's all the cooking done. Just make sure everything's turned off. That's great. Now time to plate up. Lovely crisp potatoes. Now our delicious Kokkinisto. Lovely rich sauce. A true taste of Greece. So there we have it, friends. Kokkinisto, με patatas στο forno, με thimari, and a nice choriatiki. The final touch, important in all Greek salads. Perfect. Καλή όρεξη.